Welcome to the T-Squared Dad's Brown Bag Podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Baker and Dieter Burrell. Hey, welcome back. We have a special episode today. We have a special guest on with us, Mr. Mike Knoll from our office, and we wanted to get his take on some of the things he has. You have two daughters, right?
Yeah.
Nice. And studying to be an architect?
Yep.
That's always fun.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting journey so far.
Yeah. And we're doing things a little bit different today. Mike had mentioned maybe grabbing a cigar and kind of hanging out and doing this, so we happily obliged. So we're currently over at the cigar factory in downtown Pensacola having a little stogie and just have a little chat.
Enjoying the afternoon.
Now, Mikey, for some of our listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little history. You know, what got you to Pensacola? What are you doing here? Why are you interested in architecture?
Well, I moved here with my family when I was a kid. We moved from, Georgia and Alabama, and then we moved here. So we've been here since the early 90s. I spent about 20 years in the automotive world.
Where at in the automotive world?
Well, I started out at Pep Boys, just changing oil and changing tires and stuff.
Yeah.
And then kind of graduated myself to more of a mechanic, and then I also jumped over to the parts side of things, and then also the
Managerial,
yeah.
That's what you were doing
service.
over at Harley, right?
Right, yeah. So when I left Pep Boys, I went over to Harley Davidson, and I worked there for 10 years, and I did pretty much everything from warranty management to service manager, parts manager, pretty much anything. I even did some accounting for almost a year.
Okay.
It was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Kind of got your fill after a while, though?
Yeah, I didn't really care for the older I got and the more seasoned I got, the more I just didn't like the way that some people would treat other people, and it was just kind of a very, not all of it, but some of it seemed to be kind of cutthroat, and it was just not something I wanted to do anymore.
I got you.
So I still liked doing the mechanics into things. I just didn't like the people that was running it, basically.
Yeah, and you thought architecture was going to be better?
Well, when you say it with a smile, I kind of worry.
Right. But so that's whenever you made the decision to go back to school?
Yeah, actually, it was right after my daughter was born.
Okay.
And I had a terrible experience with the place that I was working at the time. I had a manager who took it his personal, I guess you'd say personal insult that I was trying to better myself. So I started taking night classes. I didn't interfere with my work schedule. We had a 6-month-old, and it was just one of those things where I got called into his office one day, and he said, you think you're better than me. That's how we started the conversation.
Oh, gee, that's never a good way to start.
Right, and I'm just sitting there with a 6-month-old kid in the back of my head, just thinking to myself, oh, crap, what am I getting myself into here?
Yeah.
And then he just sit there and berated me for 30 minutes about how I was trying to better myself, and I thought I was better than him, and I was smarter than him, which may or may not be true.
That was probably a little bit of jealousy on his part.
Talk about self-esteem issues there.
Well, I mean, this was a grown man who was well upheld in his religious institution that he goes to. I don't know which way he went, but I met a lot of people that he knew that spoke very highly of him, but then there's this other side of him that I was having to be faced with, and it was pretty brutal.
It's interesting that you say that, because when I was in high school, college was that furthest thing in my mind.
I was the same way.
And I had technical courses for automotive repair.
Oh, I forgot you used to do automotive repair too.
I went into that for many years, and it wasn't until I quit my job. I think I thank my youthful anger that I quit my job.
Yeah.
Because I was still living at home. Obviously, I couldn't afford to live on my own, but I went back to college. I went back to. I think I mentioned to you guys I went to community college, and that's how I kind of went from community college to university, and then more into that world of collegiate environment. Obviously, I was a lot older, but I can kind of relate to you seeing those personalities, thinking that. And your situation was very unique. I mean, to have been for somebody to drag you into their office, and that's a big self-esteem kind of thing for somebody to kind of be telling you, "Oh, you think you're smarter than I am, don't you?" Who would ever do that? As a matter of fact, somebody should be tapping you in the back and saying, "You know what? That's great. You're actually trying to improve yourself, trying to be a better person. I commend you. I commend you for doing that."
Yeah, let us know if you need anything from us. Like,
Yeah,
how can we help
absolutely.
you continue that? Yeah, they must not have seen it as you were doing that and then would in turn help their business. They weren't seeing it like, hey, I'm going to get a business degree. He felt threatened by someone trying to make themselves better. And even if they were to stay in that industry, possibly be coming after his job. And so he was threatened. And only, a small person does something like that, Really, a good manager in that situation would definitely be trying to, hey, man, that's awesome. What can I do to help you? Like, if you need some extra time off or if we need to adjust your schedule, just let us know. If something's coming up, you have midterms or finals, we understand. We want you to do better. But apparently you got the opposite.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because after spending some time in class and starting to really learn, the basics of AutoCAD and, drafting, I ended up working for an electrical engineer, and he was that manager that I needed. He was amazing. Like, anything. I mean, hey man, my kid's sick. No problem. Just take off. You make it up to me later. It's cool. Never
Super flexible.
Super flexible. You never heard his voice crack when you said something. He was just always like mellow and just ready to go. And he really did a lot to help me. And I worked for him for 3 years until I worked with you guys.
Yeah.
Because he was, why would I want to leave that? I mean, it was pretty sweet.
I commend whoever was your boss in that time. I commend him for supporting you the way he did.
Well, and he knew that I wasn't going to be going into electrical engineering or telecom or anything. He knew that I wanted to go into architecture.
Even if he did.
Yeah.
It's like, what better to have the guy that's going to be working with me go into electrical engineering or whatever it is that he's doing, because in a way, it's almost like being selfish. It's almost like saying, you know what, I feel good about myself that I was able to motivate this guy into going the same field that I'm in, to follow the same career path. I must have been a good influence on him. Anybody that's out there would feel good about that, And even if you didn't, you went into architecture, that's okay. You went into drawing, you wanted to improve yourself, you wanted to do something different, something that kind of piqued your interest, even though you kind of did what you did with him. It should be something great. It should be something that's like, it touches someone in their heart to kind of feel that, someone that they work with kind of follows steps in this type of career.
Well, and I think he got that. I think he got that without having to do anything other than just being supportive. I think he got that warm and fuzzy feeling that we all kind of like to get on occasion. But he got it regularly, because I'm also not a quiet person. So I would, something would happen and I would just kind of like snap and realize, hey, this guy is making this possible. I should say something, and I would walk into his office and he'd just get off a conference call with somebody and be just exhausted looking in his face because he's been up for 10 hours already. Right. And I'm like, hey man, thanks. Yeah. Appreciate it. He'd just look at me. What?
Hey, but that goes a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, to come from a blue collar environment to a white collar environment, because I don't think people realize it's like when you have people that have dealt with other blue collar workers, there's this totally different environment. It's not they're not mentally all the way up there like, high thinkers. They're practical people. They're people. You respect each other, but you know your boundaries. And when you have an issue with somebody, a blue collar guy doesn't tell you, I'm offended. I'm really offended by what you said. I mean, they're going to stand in front of you and say, dude, you got an issue with me? Let's bring it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And it's time to get it, drop,
Yeah,
get down.
like your son. Come at me.
Yeah.
That's what
Come
Come
I'm
at me. And there's times that you don't even see it coming, and it's like whack,
Yeah.
right there. I mean, I remember seeing a few times. It's like, you took my ticket.
Yeah.
And I took the ticket. Whack.
Yeah.
And they're all the managers running in. They're trying to break it apart.
Yeah, and instead with white collar, we just kind of do all that stuff politically behind the scenes, and never really works out
It's
either.
like the immunity idol. You guys watch that show, The Island.
Oh yeah, Survivor.
Yeah. It's like, let's try to get everybody to agree with me that we got to do it a certain way. We gotta get this person out of here because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Blue collar don't work that way. I don't like you. Period.
So what?
I really don't give a hoot.
I'm still gonna work here.
Yeah.
You're still gonna work here.
And I'm going to hate
Deal
you
with
every
it.
day, but I'm still going to work right next to you. Yeah.
Shoot, and the boss would normally stick them right next to each other on
Probably
purpose.
would.
Just to let them work it out.
Yeah.
All right, you girls are going to have to
Yeah.
work this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like whenever you were a kid and you'd have a beef with somebody, you'd get into a fight, and then you guys were best friends afterwards. Like if you just finally get to that point, establish who's alpha, and then move forward.
Yeah.
So,
great.
so let me ask you, Mike.
Yeah.
Architecture.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's you're not getting a degree specifically for architecture,
Right.
but you want to go into the architectural field.
Right.
What made you make that decision?
So,
Like, why architecture and not mechanical engineering or, law or something like that?
so I like the way things are made. I like the way things are built or constructed or designed. And it was really a conversation that I had with both of my brother-in-laws at separate times, one of which is a drafter and home designer, and the other is an aerospace engineer for NASA. At the time, he was working for Gulfstream. And it just the way that the conversations would always flow, it always just made sense. And I started talking to my brother-in-law who lives here, who does architecture, and he and I just got talking about it. I was like, well, I'll take some courses and I'll try it. And it was like finding the Holy Grail almost. Like
It just felt right.
I took a class which was an intro to operating systems with a guy who is a registered architect, and a logic class.
Mm.
And the two professors couldn't have been better. I mean, they were involved, excited, everything you want out of somebody who's teaching you.
Yeah.
And it just snapped. I realized that it made sense. And then I go back and look at all my pictures from like the last 20 years. For every trip we've ever taken, I always take pictures of weird buildings and stuff on buildings.
Weird
and
little details.
weird
on
little
it.
details. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it does make sense. I
Right.
didn't realize it, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just thought-
Talking about weird little details and weird little facts, I want everybody to just remind you guys to follow us on YouTube, T Square Dads Brown Bag Podcast. Look us up, and
Yeah, definitely. And go over onto Instagram at T2Dads, all one word. And also Twitter at T2Dads.
that's correct.
So, Mike, I get all that. When was your first experience with doing something architecturally? And I'm cluing into a story that you've told me in the past about the house or the cabin. You want to tell us a little bit about that, where you drew that up?
So I'm assuming we're talking about the my capstone project for my architectural associate's degree. So I had an idea. My in-laws had just bought this cabin up in North Carolina the year before, and it's kind of like a magical place to my family. Like, the girls love growing there. They can see snow. They can see deer. It's like the highest elevation on the eastern side of the Mississippi. And so, there's a lot of neatness to it. But the house was built in 1976, and there are no floor plans anywhere. There's no site plan. The lot and plot for it is
4 lines and a couple dimensions.
Yeah, no, you didn't even get that.
Oh, man.
You go to the property appraiser's website, nothing. And so I had to go out and field measure all this thing to include elevation. So I pitched the idea to my professor, who was the department head, who was instrumental into getting me more into architecture.
What program? Where?
This was at PSC at Pensacola State, and this was with Michael Hayes. He was the department head.
Fantastic person, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. He was amazing. And I used to love our conversations just because I felt like I was like diving into deeper information because he'd been doing it for so long.
But it was his class you were doing this capstone project for?
Right. Yeah, this was to kind of like finalize everything that I've learned and put it all into one thing. So I had to use, and this is what I pitched to him. It could have been as easy as being AutoCAD. Just 2D, here you go, rock and roll. But I used ArcGIS and did points, set up the elevation, and then imported it all into Revit, and then built the floor plan. But I measured it all in -5-degree weather with my wife, who surprisingly was okay with it, considering that if it goes below 80 degrees, she is not happy.
Right.
God bless her.
Yeah. So she was bundled up like we were going to go skiing, and we're out there measuring for, I don't know, an hour and a half or so.
She must really love you.
I make good sandwiches. I mean, I'm quite the catch.
Yeah.
But it was just so cool that I was able to do all this, and I was able to like model it and put it all in there, and then I was able to do a demo plan and do an addition that we had all kind of loosely talked about.
Yeah.
So it was very rewarding, and that kind of, unfortunately, kind of more solidified the situation for me. So yeah, this is it. This is the way I want to go.
Yeah, it's interesting whenever you first get into architecture, like going out into a real environment, taking all these measurements and everything like that, and digitizing it, making changes in there, and then actually seeing it come to fruition in the real world. This is one of the few professions where you can really do something like that. You know, mechanical engineering or something like that. Yeah, you can build it on the computer and see it get made. But with a renovation, going out there to a real place, turning it digital, and then turning it into something new that gets built in the real world, that's one of the reasons why I love architecture for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's like the perfect mesh between something mechanical and something artistic, and they're just kind of like put together and they work together.
Yeah.
I think the only downturn when it comes to anything is budget.
Yeah, you always have to be cognizant of the budget.
Yeah. Yeah,
I hate whenever you throw the word budget out. You know that? It just
sorry.
really puts a dampener on my mood.
It's like the party starts and Dieter drops the budget word.
So what's the budget?
Yeah. When's the scope? Or what's the scope? When's the schedule? What's the budget? Oh.
Do you have to say it like
Oh,
that?
the budget.
Nobody wants to talk about the budget.
No, it's never enough.
Let's buy some burgers and fries. How much is it? $10. I only got 3.
Yeah. That's about right. I'd love to do this new modernist, like ultra premium thing. Okay, yeah. How many square feet? 10,000 square feet. Okay. What's your budget? $1 million. Oh. Good luck. Not going to happen. We can build you a box with some nice brick on the outside.
Let's cut it down to half.
Yeah.
We had the same thing happen at the house. We have to get a new front door, and the front door we picked out, tailor-made, everything the exact way we want it, is going to be a little over $5,000 just for the front door. Single door with 2 side lights. So I sent that text to my wife and said, this is how much it's going to run. She said, I was thinking more like this, and then sent me a new door to go look after, which was half the price. Still a nice door, but it wasn't my...
It's interesting that you said that because I think everybody gets into this, like, I have this grand idea, this amazing opening with this view to the outside, just letting all this light in, and all of a sudden you price it.
Yeah.
And then you say, no, I think we're good with like a door opening because that's not going to fly.
Yeah, that actually happened to me last night. I was sitting on the couch, and I've been wanting to get a sauna for the new property and just do like an external sauna. And so they make these really cool barrel saunas.
Oh,
right?
I've seen those. Those are awesome looking.
And a lot of like Joe Rogan and all those people, they like swear by the sauna. I'm like, yeah, I love a good sauna, but I don't want to go to the gym in order to get to a sauna. So I was like, okay, let me see how much these are. And I started and it's like pick all these different features and different types of cedar and how many people and the type of door and the type of unit and do you want windows? And I was like, heck yeah, I want windows. I want a glass door. I want all this stuff. $27,000. Woo. I'm like, can't afford that. Let's see where we can cut back.
What's
By
the budget?
By the time it was done,
What's the budget?
for the budget I was looking for, I had no windows, 4 people, an electric heater, and no glass door. You couldn't even see out of this thing. It's just a black barrel on the inside, like nothing in there. I'm like, I guess that ain't going to happen today. I need to save up a little bit more. I'll just turn one of those tough sheds into a sauna. I've been looking at everything to do with a tough shed. I'm like, my whole property is just going to be covered with tough sheds.
That's awesome.
Like, where's the movie theater? Shed number 4.
Shed number 4.
Please come on in to shed number 4.
Yeah. Where's the workshop? Oh, that's shed number 7 down there. My brother-in-law always says that it's going to be like the Nightmare Before Christmas over at my property, that you're just going to like walk into the woods and you're just going to like get to pick which door you want. Like, oh, there's Christmas and Halloween and Easter.
All I'm picturing is California homeless houses scattered through your backyard.
Yeah.
Where are we going today? I need to go tend to my my guns because we're going to go shooting this weekend. What shed is that? Number 17. Okay, well, I guess we're walking down a couple miles inside your property to get to that. So now that you're doing architecture, you're loving it. You're about to graduate, what, a year and a half from now?
No, I should be graduating at the end of the year.
Oh,
Whoa.
into the fall semester.
Yep. I've got 2.5 semesters left.
And that's with a bachelor's in
project management.
project management. Okay.
Now that leads into a very general kind of field.
It does. So
Because
it could be, construction. It could be, personnel.
these guys give me grief because I say certain things because I have an accent.
What? You have an accent?
Hold on.
I haven't noticed.
Hold on. Is this the episode where we get into the Dieterisms? Hold on. I wasn't prepared for the Dieterisms.
I didn't write
episode.
them all down.
Now, to all you guys out there, I may just have a different perception of things, okay? But when I see a thumb,
He's talking about a like button, by the way.
that's what I told the guys.
Yeah,
I go, hey, there's a lot of thumb coming our way. So if you guys are out there and you guys are listening,
Go hit the thumb for him.
Yeah,
Give us a
give
thumb.
him the thumb.
Yeah.
and subscribe.
I have to say, Dieter walking around our office and him coming over to my desk and going, "Man, we got a bunch of thumbs today." It just makes my day. Not likes, but thumbs. He's got the thumbs.
So I'm going to
It's
give
too
Mikey
funny.
a big thumb
Yeah, man.
for doing what you dream of doing.
Thanks.
So
Man.
besides being in the architecture field now and things like that, I know that obviously that's not your whole life. You have 2 kids and everything. What else do you do in your spare time? What's one of your other passions?
Pre-pandemic, we like to travel, and I guess my growing passion has always been hot rods, old cars, motorcycles. If you can make it loud, make it fast, make it cool, I've always been into it. And so Sonia and I have been together for we've been married for almost 11 years now, and I think we're on our 5th hot rod, and I've been asked to wait until we get done with school, and then I can go pick up another one.
Yeah.
I've been told not to pick up anything for a long, long time. So you enjoy that. Share with us.
Oh yeah.
So choppers or just hot rods or?
So I've built a couple of choppers over the years. One of my friends, he and I built a chopper started off as a Sportster. We built it, chopped the frame, extended it, did all the stuff in my garage while my wife was pregnant with our first child.
Oh, geez.
And so we knew that we had to finish it when we were getting close to the due date. And then my daughter decided she was going to come 2 weeks early. So I said, hey man, we're going to have to wrap this up.
Yeah, it's going to be finished real quick.
So the very first picture of my daughter outside the house is her sitting, like, being held up on the chopper that me and my buddy built.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
It's been awesome.
Yeah,
And,
man.
I think I got 7 months of free pizza every Wednesday night.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I did it for nothing. I mean, we had a great time doing it. It was just a couple buddies hanging out, building some stuff, and it's what we do with hot rods and anything else.
Yeah, man.
Reminds me of a few weekends. I don't know why, but when we hang out, it would take 3 hours to change the oil in a car.
Yeah, because
Take it to the the Jiffy Lube is 15 minutes.
Right.
you want to make sure you get all the oil out.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the
Yeah.
key.
Every last drop.
Yeah, and then
You might even have to jack up the back end or jack up the
Yeah, so
front
you can
end.
tilt it
Yeah.
and see- yeah.
Make sure you get all of it out of there.
absolutely.
For all you gearheads out there, you guys know what we're talking about.
That's kind of like whenever I do barbecue. Like, I don't have to sit out here and watch it smoke for 14 hours, but I like to.
Bloodshot eyes.
Yeah.
You okay there, Kyle? I'm okay.
Yeah, man. That's what makes it taste so much better. It was watched the whole time.
That's right.
They heard the music I was playing in the background.
That's right. Well,
It's
I'm glad
like
that
a
you're
plant.
working with us, Mikey.
I am too.
Yeah,
I am
man.
too.
Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so at the end of every episode, I always tell a dad joke.
Oh,
And I'm going to put you on the spot.
oh no.
You got a dad joke for us?
I do. I've got one. So, what's the best thing about Switzerland?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but the flag is a big plus.
Oh, man, that was good. All right, well, everybody, thanks again for listening, and we will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for listening to the T-Squared Dad's Brown Bag Podcast. Please subscribe on your favorite platform, and we will talk to you next time.